Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. This is me doing parkrun, a 5-kilometre organised run that takes place every Saturday. I run my heart out, but my dad runs faster. Not just a little bit faster. His personal best is 2 minutes ahead of mine. I cannot keep up with the man. I even hired a personal trainer to come down and coach me on. He watched me run, dun 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 dun, and said, "Chris, you could run significantly faster if you stopped humming the theme tune to Chariots of Fire." I said, "That's not my style." So we're stuck here with a man twice my age that I couldn't keep up with. But he wasn't always this fit. It started 25 years ago when my grandfather was tiling a bathroom. Suddenly a pain shot down his arm. He began to sweat profusely and his vision went blurry. His huge frame came crashing down to the ground. My dad went with him in the ambulance. We could have almost seen this coming. It was no secret that he was massively overweight, that he ate too many sweets, that he never did any exercise. This wasn't even his first heart attack, but he wouldn't survive this one. And as my father looked down into his eyes, he swore to himself that this would not be his fate, that he would not leave his children prematurely. And 25 years later, he's still running. The worst case scenario brought out the best in him. We often imagine that our lives are defined by the things that have gone well, by our triumphs. But the truth is that they're more defined by the things that have gone badly, by what happens when we face the worst case scenario and meet it head on. What was the worst case for you when you first walked through that door to Toastmasters? What was the worst case in life? When I first met my friend Alan, he hadn't seen his daughter in nearly 10 years. She lived in Italy and he was too afraid to get on the plane to go see her. He was scared of rejection, scared it had been too long, scared that she wouldn't want to see him. And then he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And Alan's story reminds me of the writer Marta Hillers, a woman defined by the worst case scenario. What made her one of the most critically acclaimed journalists in Germany was not her excellent travel writing. She toiled in obscurity for years. It was what happened in 1945 when the Soviet army rolled into Berlin, raping an estimated 2 million German women. Hillers did what she always did. She wrote. She wrote when her meagre provisions were stolen. She wrote when 2 Soviet soldiers took her on the stairs. She wrote when she was forced to accept a Soviet officer just for a loaf of bread. Her courage in writing made it acceptable for an entire generation of German women to be honest about their experiences. Her great contribution to society only came when the worst case scenario arrived. And we see this time and time again. Michael Jordan had the most successful basketball career in history, but only after his high school team rejected him for being too short. Steve Jobs built Pixar and saved Apple computers, but only after being fired by the company he created. And as for Alan, 4 weeks after diagnosis, he was on that plane. Now he and his daughter are closer than ever. Alan needed the worst case scenario to force him to act. It wasn't that he needed a reminder or that he didn't know what to do, but so often we become a prisoner of our anxiety. We're so scared of the worst case scenario that we don't realise that is what will set us free. It's not standing here in this contest where you find out how good your speaking is. This is easy. For me, it was when my grandma passed away and my family turned to me and said, "Chris, you're the Toastmaster. You do the eulogy." How do you do justice to a woman who's lived 90 years, to the people that loved her the most? That's when you find out what you're made of. It was the hardest speech I've ever written. it was probably the best. The worst case scenario brought out the best in me. So what was the worst case scenario when you first walked through that door to Toastmasters? Was it that you'd forget your lines? That you'd mess your speech up? That you'd be so embarrassed that you couldn't even come back next time? Now ask yourself, what was the project where you learned the most? Was it the one that went perfect? Or was it the one where you did make the mistakes, you did forget your line, you got the feedback and you had the chance to learn and to grow? Your life well lived isn't given to you on a plate. It doesn't come from small, easy victories. It's carved out of adversity. It's what happens when we face the worst case scenario and learn that we are strong enough to go on. It's when we make our most valuable contributions to society, like Hillers, like Jobs, like Jordan, when we find the strength to reconnect with our loved ones, like Alan, to write that perfect speech, or to find the dedication to keep running for 25 years. The next time you have a choice in life, you have an opportunity, don't ask yourself what the best case scenario is. That doesn't matter. Ask yourself what the worst is, and the worse it is, the more you should grab it with both hands. Because it's when we face the worst case scenario, we find out that we are bigger, stronger, more amazing people than we ever imagined. The worst case scenario brings out the best in us.